Okay, we're off. Hello, everybody. This is the second workshop in a series of 3. Yesterday, we were working on releasing energetic blockages that prevent us from being able to express our emotions and our feelings in a healthy way, and in fact, cause us to accumulate and store in our bodies old, stagnant, stale emotion, feeling, energy. Today and tomorrow we're going to be working on a practice, on a tool, a method to release those old stagnant emotions and feelings and energies from the body. And I call this method animal body expression, because it's all about simply allowing okay, it's all about simply allowing the body to do what it does best, and to do it in the way that it does best. How do you mean?
We only got 7 people here.
Yeah, I'm building it. Can you share it on the Facebook page? Somebody's saying that you can't see it from the page. Actually, don't worry, I can do it. So we're going to get going in a little while. I'm going to wait for people to join. In the meantime, if you're watching now already, get ready, and feel free to give me a love heart or a like. Say hello in the comments. If you've got questions, you can use the comment. Share it as well. If you know of anybody that could benefit from this work, then share it. Okay, I'm seeing it on the page. Good. I went into this a little bit yesterday, and what I'm going to do in this video is go into much more detail about how we express, how we allow our bodies to express in the most healthy way possible. And today is all about anger and rage and hatred, annoyance, frustration, irritation. These 6 emotions or feelings are really all expressions of one instinct. And really the problem is that we have the reason why we find it so difficult, many of us, to express certain emotions, and some of us to express all emotions, is that we are separated from our instinctual self. We're separated from the part of us that is natural, part of us that is spontaneous, and it's the animal part of us, the body. Hi, Vani. And so what we're going to be doing with this work today and tomorrow we focus on grief, sadness, sorrow, pain, is using certain techniques and certain methods that help us to get out of our heads, which is where we all are most of the time, into our bodies, so that the body has the opportunity to do what it's wanting to do, basically. It's a little bit like, if you need to go to the toilet, you can stop yourself by getting in your head One minute you can think I need to go to the toilet, and the next minute you can get caught up in your thought streams, listening to the tapes that are playing in your mind. And, you can literally forget that you need to go to the toilet. So really, a lot of it is to do with presence, to being present in the body. When we're present in the body, it means that we're present with what is. And of course, this is one of the reasons why many of us don't go into our bodies and don't stay present in the body. It's because there are feelings, there are emotions, there are energies there that have been stuck. And the reason they got stuck in the first place is because of trauma. And so it's no surprise that we don't want to go there. We don't want to feel those things. They're uncomfortable. They're sometimes very painful and difficult. Also, we don't go there because we have learned that it's not safe to go there. For example, somebody that grows up in a family where everybody is very nice, nobody shouts and nobody gets angry and everybody wears a mask of happy, nice, happy. That person as an adult will probably 9 times out of 10 find it very, very difficult to express anger because as a child they never saw that modeled to them. There was no blueprint for that. Hi, Sandy. And before, how many?
14.
Okay. Before we go into the work that we're going to do today and tomorrow, if you didn't watch it already, you should watch the video that we did yesterday. It's no problem watching this video and tomorrow's video before you've seen that. But before you do the work that I'm going to share with you today and tomorrow, most likely you will benefit a great deal from doing the first video first, from practicing the practice that I shared with you yesterday. Still waiting for a few more people to join, so keep sharing. Likes and love hearts help, and say hi, let me know where you're from, and if you've got any questions, that's what the comments are for really. So any questions that you've got, please ask. There's no such thing as a stupid question. What we were talking about yesterday, and what we were working on, as I say, is the energetic blockages that we create as a result of trauma that cut us off from our natural instinctual processes of the body. And essentially what yesterday's workshop was about healing trauma, because the reason these energetic blockages get created is essentially trauma. We experience an event or a situation or something that makes us feel unsafe, and for whatever reason we don't feel able to respond to that trauma either with fight or with flight. We're not able to get away, we're not able to resist the situation or to fight back against it, and so we freeze. And that has a very, very powerful influence on our psyche, on our mind, because what it does is that it creates a subconscious association between the reaction that we had, i.e., to freeze. Hi, Curtis. And the feeling of safety. The reason why our body freezes is to make to make us feel a little bit more safe in the face of this trauma. So a subconscious association is created between safety on the one hand and the freeze instinct on the other. And it's not just that it's created, but it's imprinted deeply into our subconscious mind. Because the impact of trauma, the impact of feeling unsafe is so strong and so primal that that neural pathway is created. And so sometimes what is necessary is to heal trauma and thereby heal the consequence of that trauma, i.e., the energetic blockage, before we can then process these feelings and these emotions. So today, the focus is anger, rage, hatred, annoyance, frustration, and irritation. And these six emotions, these six feelings, are really expressions of the fight instinct. As human beings, we have many different aspects to us. Even if you look at our brain, you can divide it into three parts. And there is a theory, scientific theory, which is called the triune brain theory. And it says that we have evolved over thousands and thousands of years from reptiles through mammals into the human beings that we are now. And that if you look closely at the brain, if you dissect the brain, you see that there are three distinct parts. The reptilian brain, which is at the base of the skull, at the back of the skull, the limbic system, which is in the middle part of the brain, and the frontal cortex, the neocortex, which is obviously at the front, inside the forehead, inside this part. And these three separate parts of the brain correspond to three different types of awareness that we have. Going backwards, the frontal cortex is where we do our thinking. The limbic system is our emotional center. And the reptilian brain is responsible for instinct. For example, the instinct to survive. The reptilian brain is very, very, very old. It's been there for hundreds of millions of years since we were reptilian, since we were reptiles. The limbic system is also very old. It's been around since the beginning of mammals, since mammals came into the picture. But this frontal cortex is new, very, very new. In terms of human evolution, it's only just come onto the scene, okay? What trauma does, when we feel deeply unsafe, when we are traumatized, this reptilian brain, which is responsible for survival, overrides everything. It overrides everything, which means that in a flash, we can become purely instinctive. Trauma happening, we don't feel safe. fight or flight or freeze are the only ways in which we can respond. We literally stop thinking. Emotion is out the window, become completely unemotional. We become primal and instinctual. This is very powerful because the instinct to survive, these instinctive drives that come from the reptilian brain, override everything. This creates a very, very powerful imprint in the subconscious mind. So if you experienced a trauma as a child, for example, in which you were not able to resist, you were not able to fight back, you were not able to run away, then this reaction that you were able to do, for example, to freeze, perhaps you contracted, perhaps you disassociated, perhaps your awareness even left the body, whatever it was, that becomes imprinted into your psyche as a necessary way for your organism, for your body to survive. And so many people experienced various kinds of trauma in which it was not possible to respond to this trauma by escaping or by fighting back. For example, if the trauma came from your parents, it doesn't have to be extreme violence, although it can be. It can be something as simple as a recurring pattern in the family home where there is dysfunction and the child, for whatever reason, feels unable to speak out about it and feels unable to do anything about it and instead contracts. If that's the case, then that person will grow up finding it difficult to express certain emotions, possibly all emotions. Again, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. Okay, how many? Good. Okay, so the fight instinct. The fight instinct. Put your hand on your belly. Put your hand on your belly between your hips, your lower belly, your gut. That's where the body mind is. That's where the awareness that we have that corresponds with this reptilian brain. That's where that instinctive awareness is. In the same way, you can put your hand on your heart and it feels very different. This is your emotional center. And just by putting a hand there, we connect not only to that part of the body, but we connect to that part of our awareness, i.e. heart, emotion. And put your hand on your forehead. This is the thinking part, the language part, the part of our awareness that deals with numbers and intellect and reasoning and so on. Again, put the hand on the gut, put the hand on the belly. What we're working with today and tomorrow is the gut, more than anything, the body mind. So the method that I'm going to share with you is all about getting out of the head, getting into the body, so that the body can very, very simply do what it needs to do. I gave the example earlier. It's a bit of a silly example, but it'll do. If you need to go to the toilet, the body has an urge. The body has an instinctive need to go to the toilet. Something can happen and you get in your head. Perhaps you hear something that makes you feel worried. Suddenly you're in your head and you forget that you need to go to the toilet. We've all had that experience. In order to then successfully go to the toilet, what is necessary is to come back into the body. Then the body is immediately able to do what it needs to do. And it is exactly the same with all instincts. The instinct to go to the toilet, the instinct to sleep, the instinct for hunger, the instinct for sex, whatever instinctive drive the body is feeling, we need to get out of the way, out of the head, into the body, and allow our bodies to express themselves naturally, freely, spontaneously. And that's what this work is about today. The instinct that we're looking at today is the fight instinct. And so many of us in the West today are completely out of touch with our fight instinct because for thousands of years now, we have been conquered, divided, witch hunts, um, war, religious indoctrination, societal pressure, cultural stuff, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on and on. The more you look at it, the more that you can find ways in which humanity has become compliant, really. And of course, the educational system that we have is a big part of it as well. When I was a child, I was being bullied at one point, and I came home and told my parents. And my father said, "Whack him on the nose." And my mum jumped in and said, "No, no, no, you mustn't do that. It's not, violence isn't good." So we're very conflicted as individuals and as a culture. We're conflicted over what we should do in certain situations, how we should respond. And we get in our heads about it instead of allowing our bodies to do what they naturally know how to do. Yeah, Jennifer says, it's so funny. I keep saying that mobile phones are training us to ignore our bodies. We feel we need to go to the toilet and then just let me finish watching the chat video first instead of listening and acting for our bodies. Yeah, there's so many ways in which we're disconnected from our bodies. For example, body image, the image that we are sold and programmed with, the way we should look. Little waist, sort of suck it in, big chest, whether you're a man or a woman, right? Skinny if you're a woman, muscles if you're a man, and television, radio, books, music, sitting at desks all the time, sitting on toilets when we should be squatting. Really, naturally, our bodies are designed to squat when we go to the toilet. Many, many, many ways. Even the way that we birth our children has become completely ridiculous. What woman really wants to lie on her back with her legs in stirrups when she's going through the birthing process? So yeah, we are animals. We are animals. We're more than that. But the bodies that we inhabit are animal bodies, and that's the reason why this is called animal body expression, because it's about letting go of our sophistication, letting go of our civilization, letting go of everything we've learned, and just allowing the body to do what it knows how to do. And it really knows how to do all of these things. It knows how to squat on the ground, knows how to give birth in a natural way if it's allowed to, knows how to breathe properly. Most people don't breathe properly. And very soon I'll be sharing with you a little course on breathing so that everyone can be sure that they're breathing properly. Welcome, Christopher. Well done. And hello, Subhas. How are we doing? Okay. So I'm going to get going soon. I'm still just waiting for a few more people to come. So a little bit more about the theory of this. Anger, rage, hatred, irritation, annoyance, and frustration are emotions and feelings that are all expressions of the fight instinct. The fight instinct. The fight instinct is there along with those emotions for very good reason. And as I said yesterday in the workshop, there is no emotion, there is no feeling that you have or can have that is wrong. They're all justified. They're all there for a reason, in the same way that all of the organs in the body are there for a reason. In the same way that nothing is wasted, in nature. There are no mistakes. And for many of us, we've come to feel that these emotions like frustration, irritation, feeling annoyed, feeling angry, feeling rage, and especially feeling hatred, we've come to believe that they're kind of wrong, that they're bad, that we shouldn't feel like that. And nothing could be further from the truth, because actually they are expressions of the fight instinct, and the fight instinct is a very, very important aspect of who we are, and especially an important aspect of our power as animals and as human beings. If we are not able to express our fight instinct, then we are truly disempowered. And the truth is that, hi Chantal, the truth is that most humans are disempowered, very deeply disempowered. I don't want to go too much into this, but basically, if you're a little bit aware of the chakra system, the 7 chakras, they correspond to different types of awareness or different types of vibration that we are able to hold. The first chakra is about safety and security. And the shadow, or the demon, if you like, of that chakra is fear. As I said yesterday, most people alive today, especially in the West, are rooted, so to speak, in the root chakra. They're stuck in the shadow of the root chakra, which is fear. The process of us healing ourselves and evolving spiritually, in many ways, you could say, is the process of healing these types of awareness, healing fear, and allowing that energy to become the knowingness of safety and security. And then raising that energy up into the second chakra. The shadow of the second chakra is guilt. Transforming that into freedom. Raising the energy further up into the third chakra, the solar plexus, where we hold the shadow of that as shame, and transforming that energy into our power. So power comes from the solar plexus. And if in the second chakra, in the guts, in the body mind, where our instinct lives, so to speak, if we're blocked there, which most people are, then our energy cannot rise up through the second chakra into the third and become our personal power. The reason for the fight instinct is that it helps us to know when something is wrong. When the fight instinct is healthy, when we're able to express anger, rage, hatred, annoyance, frustration, and irritation spontaneously and freely, then we are able to see very quickly when something is wrong. We feel, we discern, because the instinct has this wisdom. As I said before, the body mind where instinct resides is primal. It's very, very, very old, hundreds of thousands of years old. And the wisdom of all of our ancestors has been handed down to us through the body mind. All we really have to do is get out of our heads, get into our bodies, and experience that. And so the work that we're going to do today is about purging, releasing, expressing old, stuck, and accumulated energy, specifically rage, anger, hatred, and the other emotions that I mentioned. Because when those feelings are stuck as a result of a pattern, a lifetime pattern of not being able to express them, then they also cause a blockage, and they also prevent the energy from flowing freely. So it's very, very important for us, and that's why we're doing these workshops, especially at this moment in time, when the collective consciousness is basically being squeezed very, very, very hard, and all of our unresolved stuff is coming up, so that as people are in this lockdown business in their apartments and in their homes with their families, there's a great deal of this stuff happening. There's a great deal of frustration. There's a great deal of irritation. There's a great deal of annoyance. There's a great deal of anger, rage, and even hatred coming up, which is a very good thing. A very good thing. And in combination with what is happening energetically on the planet at the moment, there is an energy coming through our planet and through humanity that is making it much easier than it ever has been before to do this work. This energy is the thing that is making us feel squeezed. And the more you resist it, the more you refuse to go with the flow of that energy, the more you will feel squeezed. But you can take this opportunity, and that's why I'm doing these videos now. You can take this opportunity to ride that wave, to use that energy to help you release these things. And once you've released them, once you begin to be able to express, or rather to allow your body to express itself freely, then you come into your power. And what's needed at the moment here on planet Earth, more than anything, is individuals like yourselves to get into our power. When enough of us get into our power, all of the problems that we see happening in human society and on the planet today will disappear. Okay. Yeah, Christopher says the theory of evolution is a Victorian / scientific justification for moving away from animal instincts. Being human / civilized is marked by the further away you are from being an animal. Right, right. Very good point. That is one of the things that I was mentioning earlier. That's another thing that has been that has caused us to get disassociated, to get disconnected from our nature, from our animal nature. And the thing is that we can evolve spiritually. We are spiritual beings. We're more than just animals. But what's being done to us over the course of the last few thousand years is that our ability to evolve spiritually has been taken away from us. As I said yesterday, the first three chakras are not really about being spiritual. They're about being grown up, being adults. When you do this healing work and you integrate the energies in the lower chakras, you don't become enlightened. You just become a more functional, empowered human being, adult human being. And only when that's done, can you do effective spiritual work and raise your awareness into the higher brain centers, basically, and achieve spiritual growth. So it's very, very important for all of us now to work on these lower vibrations, these lower instinctive drives, and integrate these feelings and so on, so that we can become truly spiritual. And most people that describe themselves as spiritual really are not very, because they may aspire to that and with the best intentions. However, when the energy is blocked so strongly in the animal centers, and our attempt to become spiritual is really then bypassing. It's like trying to climb to the top of the ladder. There's 7 rungs on the ladder, and the first 3 rungs are missing. If you get to the top, you're going to fall back down. That's just how it goes. And this was my direct experience. I became a yoga teacher. I became a very advanced, successful yoga teacher. I experienced various enlightenment states, really. And only after that did I realize that I was holding huge amounts of trauma, including 5 or 6 years of sexual abuse as a teenager, which I had completely compartmentalized and forgotten about. So even whilst practicing a great deal of yoga, a great deal of meditation, and achieving bliss states, enlightenment states, complete silence, being able to go for prolonged periods of time without breathing, I was deeply traumatized. And I climbed to the top of the ladder, so to speak, or up the ladder anyway, and I had to fall back down to build those first 3 rungs on the ladder so that I could take those steps and then achieve spiritual progress. So this is why I'm sharing this work with you in this way, because it's really the most important thing for humanity on the planet today. Facing what we're facing, with what's going on, we need to find our power. And we don't find our power by, gazing at our belly buttons, by meditating, if our lower centers are not integrated. Vane says, I'm dealing with something that looks like food poisoning right now. As I've been trying to release anger lately, I wonder if this is related somehow. Yeah, for sure it's related. For sure it's related. And it's very good because hopefully you're doing a lot of vomiting, which is what we call being sick. I'm being sick, right? But in indigenous tribal societies, they don't call it being sick, they call it getting well. Because when you vomit, you let go of something from the body. Just like when you purge or express an old, stale, stagnant emotion. And everything in us is connected. The thought is connected to the emotion, is connected to the feeling, is connected to the instinct, is connected to the tissue and the blood and the bone. It's not always the case, but very often when we finally begin to purge these emotions, we also purge physically. So it's, I know Vane very well. She's in my online community, so we work together regularly. And for sure, when you get something like food poisoning, of course, most people will just put it down to, oh, I picked up a bacteria in some food. Just like this virus business, most people believe that, it's just a question of a microscopic something in the air and you inhale it, but it doesn't work like that. You will get the virus if you need to get the virus, and if you don't need to get it, you won't. And it doesn't matter whether you wear a face mask or not, but I'm not going to go into that. Vera says, so grateful, helping me a lot, thank you. Natalie, hi Ben, is it possible to release too much at once and overwhelm the nervous system? That's a really good question. And there is a formula which I adhere to, and I've been doing this work for 11 years now, and I've never had a single client that had any kind of negative reaction. But there's a great deal of fear around these kinds of practices because, yeah, if you do it badly, if you do it in the wrong way, then it's the same as anything. You can cause harm. But the formula that I adhere to is that it's all about intention. It's all about intention. And if you do this work with a clear, pure intention, and what that means is that you have a strong desire for genuine healing, then you will find that all kinds of forces come to your assistance, both internally and externally, and you will be protected. So, is it possible to release too much at once and overwhelm the nervous system? Actually, no, that's not possible. That's not possible. The body is designed in such a way that it can handle a hell of a lot. It's incredibly robust. And when you get out of the way, when you're not in your head, and you allow the body to do what it does, it will do what it needs to do in the most efficient way possible, which is just how nature works. And so it really is about getting out of the way and just allowing nature to do what it does. The question, of course, comes from a place of fear, and it's a very natural fear, especially if we're not used to expressing these things. Then it's very normal for us to be afraid. We've been made afraid of allowing ourselves to express freely. as I said, there have been many, many ways in which we've been made afraid um, of this natural expression. So understand that your question comes from a fear, and understand that if you get out of the way and you allow your body to do what it does, then it will simply surprise you with magic. In the same way that you don't think about how your food is going to be digested. You eat it, and then you wait until you need to poop. And in the meantime, the digestive system is doing magic. It's breaking the food down, it's breaking it into its different parts, proteins and carbohydrates. It's taking what the body needs, eliminating the rest. It's an incredibly complex process that we have nothing to do with. You have no control over that whatsoever. So the body has the heart is beating, all day long, and it has nothing to do with me. Thank God. So this is the same. This work is really just getting out the way and allowing the body to take over, which is why it's called animal body expression. Jennifer says, thank you. I've struggled with keep going off into the higher energies, but then hitting blocks, which then causes chaos. I realize that this that I keep hitting is unresolved trauma. Thank you. You are so describing what has been happening to me. Yeah. Yeah, Christopher was just going to say spiritual bypassing. That's it. Yeah, so how are we doing? Okay, good. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Ask in a comment. I'm going to get very soon into the practical stuff. A little bit more, I want to talk about the fight instinct. Um, you won't hear anyone else talking about this. This is my own theory that I've developed over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. And in working with numerous clients on it, I've seen that that it holds water, that it's true. Of course, most people or a lot of people get stuck on emotions and feelings and psychology, and when you understand that all of this comes from the body, when you understand that any emotion, in a way, can be simply explained as a secretion of hormones within the glands of the body, and when you understand that the body is primarily instinctual, an animal body, then you can begin to work with the emotions and with the psychology at the level of the animal body. And it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Natalie's asking, will you be addressing the fawn response? No. Not in this, no. Okay, so intention is the most important thing. Intention. And I would like you to take a moment to get clear on what your intention is going to be for the work that we're about to do, the work that I'm about to share with you. Really, I'm going to share the practice with you, and you can do it. You can practice it while I'm speaking about it, but really what you need to do is to do it properly. You need to set aside time and you need to set aside space. And the space that you need to set aside should be a safe space. You may find yourself, as you do the practice, really letting go of your body so that your body moves in ways that are kind of like seemingly out of control. Certainly, you're not controlling it. Spontaneous movements. You may also find yourself we're working with anger today, you may find yourself wanting to express that anger physically by punching something, for example, a pillow or a mattress or a cushion. So I recommend that you create the space for yourself to do this work in which it's soft. You want to get on the floor or on a bed, You want to have cushions or pillows or both. It's also a good idea to have a blanket handy, because at the end, when you've finished, you're probably going to want to curl up in a ball, cover yourself with a blanket, and go to sleep. It's not that you expend a great deal of energy, it's that when you express this old shit that you've been carrying around in your body for such a long time, once it gets let go of, the body needs to rest. The most important thing after this work is rest. So it's a good idea to have a blanket, because you may immediately want to rest and lie down. You may fall asleep, and if you do, that's the best thing that can happen immediately after doing this kind of work. So create the space, set aside the time. You might want to put a sign on the door saying, please do not disturb. You definitely want to turn off all your phones and your gadgets and the things that could disturb you. Set aside the time, set aside the space. And so, yes, you can begin to experiment a little bit with some of the tools that I'm sharing with you as I speak through this video. But what I recommend is that you don't plunge headfirst into trying to do this animal body expression whilst this live video is going on. Take it seriously. Take yourself seriously. Take your healing not only seriously, but prioritize it, because it is the most important thing in the world. There is nothing more important for you as an individual and for humanity as a collective than empowering ourselves, so that we're not at the mercy of, political elites and the governments and so on. We will change and transform society by transforming ourselves individually and then collectively. So this work is super important. You should honor it in such a way that you set aside time, you create a good space, and before you do it, can you just find that ritual document? Actually, no, it's easier for me to do it. I've got it here, I think.
You shared it on the live yesterday as well.
Yeah, I did. So before you begin the practice, take some time to align yourself with what you're doing. This is about decision making. It's about making a choice. And it's very, very important how we do this, how we make choices, how we make decisions. It's about intention. The degree to which you are intentional about anything, really, is the degree to which you're going to be successful with it. And so if you take the time and you formulate a really clear intention, and it really comes from your heart, if you really want this, then, as I said earlier, not only will you be protected, but the work that you do will be very successful. Forces that you can't even imagine will come to your assistance. The spirits of your ancestors, all kinds of natural, universal, cosmic forces will support you, because healing is a very loving process, and love, the energy of love, is the energy of life. This expansion, this constant growth process, the movement towards healing is a natural movement. So these are the forces and these are the energies that will support you. And all you have to do is align with them. That's about making a clear choice, a clear decision, having a good intention. So we're going to share with you a little document which, where is it? Here we go. I shared this yesterday in the workshop that we did yesterday. I'm going to share it here now because I think it could be very, very useful for you to do a ritual before you do this work. So here's the text. It's a very simple text, and it's not definitive. It's really a text that I created for the 12-week course that I run to help people that don't have any knowledge of ritual and haven't got experience of doing ritual to understand how to do it in a simple way. So feel free to use this text. And I recommend that you do a ritual. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. Light a candle, make a prayer, set an intention, ask for support from life, from the universe, from your higher self, from God, from whatever you believe in, from your ancestors. The support is there when we ask for it, always. And if you get very intentional, if you get very clear in yourself, so that you're coming from your heart with a very clear intention, I want to release this old stuff for myself, for my ancestors, for my descendants, for the collective. Then, when you come to do the practice, it will be supported and it will be that much more powerful. Okay. So, once you've done your process of getting very clear on your intention, once you've created a safe space for yourself to do the work and you've set aside the time to do it, and now you come to do it, the first thing that you do is a process that is designed to bring your energy right down into your body very quickly, very easily. And what I recommend for this is either shaking or dancing, or a combination of both. Shaking is foolproof, and I'm going to explain how you do the shaking in a moment. Shaking is foolproof. If you're going to do dancing, you need to dance in such a way that you're dancing freely without control. You're just allowing your body to move. Okay? And the idea is that you become very physical. You bring the energy into the body and out of the head. And what you're going to do is you're going to set a timer, at least 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes of vigorous shaking or dancing. And I won't talk about dancing, I'm just going to talk about shaking to keep it simple. So shaking is what I recommend, 3 minutes minimum, 3 to 5 minutes. And you shake your body, it's very, very simple. Shake the hands, shake the arms, shake them up in the air, shake them down, shake them to the sides, shake your shoulders, shake your face, shake your neck and your head. You do it standing up, shake your legs like this. Try to get your feet like you're trying to throw your toes away. You want to shake your body like it's a rag doll. And you're going to do this constantly for at least 3 minutes. And you're going to set a timer so that you don't cheat yourself. Because after a minute, you're going to want to stop. You're going to breathe very deeply and shake, 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 shake. Shake everything that you can possibly shake, and shake it in every way that you can possibly shake it. Then, and Kimber is summarizing all of this in the text, in the comments. When you've done the shaking, you're going to get down into the space that you've set aside for the work, either on the floor or on a mattress with cushions and pillows. You're going to get on your hands and your knees. And there are two ways of doing this now. One is that you can focus on the feeling that is inside you that you've been unable to express. For example, if lately you've been feeling really frustrated with your boss or really angry with your partner, and these feelings have been coming up, they're there now. They're present, right? Therefore, you can focus on them and allow them to rise up through the body and to be expressed. So the first method is focus on the emotion that is being expressed. And the second method is to simply get in the body and allow the body to express whatever it needs to express without your conscious control. So on the hands and the knees, on the floor or on the mattress, either focusing on these feelings that are there that you want to come out and allowing them to build up, or simply getting out the way and allowing the body to do what it does. And then the next step is the breath. So as soon as you get on the hands and the knees, you begin to breathe very deeply in a specific way through the mouth. You can breathe in through the nose, but you exhale through the mouth. Deep, deep breathing. And you continue to breathe in this way. Very soon, adding a sound to the exhale. And it's a sound of a sigh. So, you've shaken your body vigorously. Energy's come into the body. You're out the head. You get on the floor or on the mattress, hands and the knees, and you begin to breathe very deeply, very, very deeply, sounding the exhale. The sound that will come out is without effort. It's just the sound that you feel or the body feels to make as it exhales. Nothing more than that. No effort, no thinking about the sound, just allowing a sound. And it can be subtle at first. As you breathe deeper and deeper, the sound will build. And it will become more of a deep expression. So, for example, may turn into okay? And you simply allow the body to make whatever sound it needs to make. It's nothing to do with you, actually. You're handing over control to the body. You're getting out of the way. You're allowing this animal body to express whatever it needs to express. And as I said a moment ago, there are two ways of doing it. One is by allowing yourself to go into the emotions that you feel are stuck, that you want to express. You consciously allow those emotions to come out through the voice and through the body. The other is just get completely out of the way and allow the body to do whatever it needs to do. Three things will take place. One is physical movement. Physical movement. So as you're on the ground or on the mattress with the pillows, you may find that your body starts wanting to express the emotion and the feeling. Today we're working with anger, rage, hatred, and so on. So you may find yourself wanting to hit, punch, tear, thrash around, release these emotions physically. The second thing that is happening is that your voice will be releasing energy. More accurate to say, energy will be released as sound through your voice. And again, has nothing to do with you. You're just getting out of the way, handing over control to the body. Letting go of control completely is the key. The third thing that happens is that energy, old energy that has been held in the body, will be released. You may find that your body makes spontaneous movements. For example, writhing, jerking, thrashing around, and that's very good as well. All three of these things are very, very good for the body to experience. That is the expression that we're looking for. So, Vera is asking, sometimes I feel so much rage. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know why, but I feel it so intensely. I try to understand where is it from, but I can't. So, we hold a great deal of stuff in our bodies. We have inherited all of the unresolved ancestral trauma from our ancestors, all of it. And it doesn't matter what part of the world you're from, your ancestors experienced a great deal of trauma. We all came from tribes, and almost all of our tribes were destroyed and conquered. Um, we all had ancestors that were medicine men and medicine women, witches, if you like, that were hunted and tortured and killed for 700 years during the witch hunts. We were all forced to sit in classrooms as children and pay attention and be good boys and good girls and comply. And we were all forced to wear clothes at a certain age when we still wanted to be naked. We've been told for hundreds of years, well, for thousands of years actually, that our sexuality is sinful, that we are sinful, that we have to atone for our sins. And yes, right now, just in this lifetime, we are bombarded from all sides with poison and toxins and lies and fake news and propaganda. So honestly, you don't need to know where your rage comes from. The question, can you show me a way to know, is whether I can or whether I can't. It's irrelevant. You don't need to know. You can't possibly know all of it. And this need to know is coming from the head. Who needs to know? The personality, the mind. You don't need to know. What you need to do is express it, release it, purge it, let it go. Because at the moment, it's blocking and it's stopping your evolution, your growth, your healing. So don't worry about where it comes from. Just let it go, let it out. Anger, rage, hatred, even annoyance, frustration, and irritation are very healthy, positive feelings when they're fresh, when they are a natural response to something in your environment that is wrong. So, for example, there may be some things happening in the world today that deep down in your bones you feel is just wrong. It's not okay. And me personally, I would like to see all of humanity at the point where when something's wrong, we all act, we all take responsibility for it. We see that something's wrong and we act to put it right. And that is the purpose of anger and rage and these emotions that we're talking about today. Their purpose is to fuel our motivation to put right what is wrong outside of us in this material world. Again, it's nothing spiritual about it. It's very, very human, very simple. Natalie says, is it best to not make sounds when we're shaking beforehand, saving it up for when we're sounding it out after? Well, you can make as much sound as you want to make when you're shaking. It's fine to do that. You won't really get the full expression while you're shaking because you're going to be so busy shaking. It's such a physical activity that it's actually quite difficult for the expression of the energy and the emotion. But it can happen. If you find a big expression happening while you're shaking, go with it. Go with it. Christopher asks, the spontaneous movement of the body is the releasing of trauma. Yes, it is. There are many ways in which the body releases trauma. Yawning, when we have a good yawn, that is the body releasing stress and trauma too. You may have had the experience of when you're falling asleep at night. You're just about to fall asleep and your body twitches. That's the body releasing trauma. Involuntary shaking, when the kundalini gets awakened and the kundalini energy starts to rise up And many people experience in the process of that spontaneous movements of the body. That's the energy rising up through the body and pushing out these old energies, these old feelings on a purely energetic level. So that's what's happening. Chantal is asking, is it also unreleased trauma from previous lives that we still carry? Yes, maybe, no, possibly, I don't know. I work really with ancestral stuff, and I found that the past life stuff is just not so prominent. We don't really need to focus on it. I mean, yes, it is, but maybe that's the same as talking about our ancestors. So I wouldn't, my advice is don't get stuck on the past life stuff. Focus now. Focus on what you have now here in the body. And don't get stuck on where does it come from? Is it ancestral? Is it past life? Is it this? Again, where we want to get to is where our bodies are able to be completely spontaneous. And then that is a platform upon which we can build our spiritual growth very effectively. Anger is an energy. John Lydon. Yeah. And really everything is energy. What is not energy? Nothing. There is nothing in existence that isn't simply just energy. And it's the same with all of our feelings. They all come from deep down in the body and they rise up through us. Any questions? Let me know. So, you shake. You shake hard, you shake vigorously, you set the timer. Before that, you've set an intention, you've maybe done a little ritual, and you've really become clear in yourself about what you want to do and why you want to do it. And then you shake vigorously to 3 to 5 minutes. You've created the space, you then go into the space, hands and knees, allow your body to do what it needs to do. You might want to lie down, you might want to put your head on the ground, whatever it needs to do, get out the way. Just let your body do what it needs to do. And then deep breathing. The purpose for the deep breathing is to keep you out of your head. It's going to help you to become a little bit like in a trance state, in this state where the thoughts are not so present and the body can take over. And then you allow the emotion and or the energy to simply flow through your body, through the physicality, through the voice. The deep breathing is with this sigh, which turns into a sound. And the sound may become very powerful. You may be very surprised at the sound that comes out from the depths of your body. You may find yourself howling like a wolf, roaring like a lion, barking like a dog or like a deer. And this is what we're looking for, animal body expression. This voice that we've got is incredibly powerful. This voice is the voice that our ancestors used to produce a war cry that could win a battle all on its own, that could terrify an opponent. And we have the possibility, our voices have the possibility to be very strong, very powerful, to express in ways that you probably can't imagine. Sounds may come out of you that will surprise you. And when that starts to happen, you know that you're getting a really good expression. You're doing a good purge. And when it happens, it's almost like you unlock an ability. It is unlocking an ability. You unlock the ability of your body to freely express certain energies. And that makes you, I can't describe how much power you gain from that one simple act. When you're finished, as I said earlier, the best and most important thing is rest. After any healing, anytime you let go of something that you don't need anymore, you will experience, if it's a powerful healing, 11:11, if it's a powerful healing, you will be letting go of a contraction. And when the body lets go of a contraction that it's been holding for a long time, it will need to rest in order to recalibrate and integrate and process what just happened. So when you've done this work, afterwards, the most important thing is rest. It's also important to drink lots of good quality water, which reminds me to have a little drink. And eat well. So what I always recommend to people is that for 3 days after the process, you be very conscious of getting plenty of rest and sleep, drinking plenty, like 3 to 4 liters a day if possible, of good quality water. And I'm not going to go into this too much now, but there's good water and there's shitty water, and I highly recommend, if you don't do it already, that you source the best quality water you can, because our bodies are mostly just water, and it's important. So plenty of rest, drink loads, and eat well. And when I say eat well, I mean listen to the body, and it will call for things, it will crave certain things, and feed it what it needs. Feed it what it needs. How often is it best to do this? Natalie says, you can do this. You can do this as often as you need to, basically. If you have a really big release, and by really big release, what I mean is if you find these sounds coming out that are the sounds of animals that you've never made before, and you didn't think you could make these sounds, and if you feel that this big energy is released from the body, if you have a really big release, you're going to want to take at least 24 hours, maybe more, for the body to process. But the answer, as always, is surrender to the body. The question comes from the head: how often can I do this? And the truth is, the body knows best. The body knows best. And the time that we live in now is a time for us to really surrender to the body and allow this wisdom, this biological wisdom that is the result of hundreds of millions of years of evolution on this planet. Just give control back to the body. Let go. So you have a big release, then rest, then integrate and allow the process to unfold. Drink plenty of water, eat well, sleep a lot, rest. And when the body is ready for round 2, then you do it. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. One of the things that's happening these days is that this old way of living, routine, schedule, planning, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, everything mechanical and systematic and so on, we're done with that now. Thank God. We're done with that. And what we can do now is allow ourselves to realign with the natural rhythms, with the moon, with the sun, with the seasons. And again, the body has this wisdom to follow those rhythms. It's very hard on the body when we force it into the tick-tock scheduling and routining system. Very hard. So we're all going through a process at the moment of letting go of that, which is a big deal, and remembering, allowing the body to remind us, allowing the body to remember us. Kiai. Okay, so asking water, filtered water, question mark. James says, can you explain good quality water? Okay. So in most cities and maybe everywhere, the water system puts chemicals in the water. Fluoride is one, chlorine is another. Chlorine is the stuff that you put in swimming pools to kill bacteria, right? So, me personally, I don't like to drink swimming pool water, and I don't like chlorine or fluoride in my water. Fluoride also shuts down the pineal gland, and some people would say that it's not an accident that it's in the water supply. Um, there's living water and there's dead water. Dead water is what comes out the taps with chemicals in it. And yeah, you can drink it, and yes, it hydrates you, you know. But when you drink living water, that's medicine. And really, it's the ultimate medicine. So you can find that in springs and wells. And in some places, like where I am, it's very, very difficult to find a spring or a well. I have to travel a very long way. So then you have to make a choice. Am I going to travel a long way to get the spring water? Am I going to drink the tap water or bottled water? I personally prefer bottled water. If you can get it in glass bottles, even better, because the plastic apparently can leach into the water in the sunlight. But I personally prefer bottled water to tap water. And so that's the story about water. And
Can also get a distiller. Or
yeah,
distiller.
that's a very good point. You also get a distiller. Distiller is a machine that distills the water, obviously, and takes out any toxins, any chemicals. So that's a very, very good option, because what you're then left with is like neutral, clean water. Better than bottled water, better than tap water. So first choice is a spring water or from a well. Second choice is a water distiller. They're not that expensive. I think in the UK you can get them for about £100. Um, for me, third choice is bottled water, and bottom of the list for me is tap water. Christopher says, in martial arts, they use the kiai, literally spirit meeting, in this way as an expression of power, as a way to scare or intimidate opponents, as a way of calling on the energies of the universe to help with focusing of intention. The Maori haka also contains some of these same elements. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. Kiai is an expression of the fight instinct. It's literally taking the energy of the fight instinct and externalizing it. The haka is the same thing. These are all tribal, ancient ways that in the West, we've forgotten, or rather, we've been uh, made to forget. Natalie says, I can't wait to do this. Started screaming spontaneously a year ago, but it happened at night, and I stopped too soon, where I was keeping other people awake. When I stopped, I was aware of feeling an immense sadness as I hadn't finished. I've wanted to do it again ever since, but feel so scared of it. But I will. Good. I was roaring and screaming like a wild animal, so primal I don't know I could make those sounds. Didn't know I could make those sounds. Very good. Case of a kangen. What's a kangen? Alkaline. Don't know what that means. Yeah, Crystal is saying something. Yeah, if you drink bottled water, choose spring water, not like Dasani. Dasani is, you have to be smart about this. There's water that's made by Coca-Cola, and all they do is a journalist went to the factory and found out what they were doing. They get tap water. They fill a bottle from the tap, and then they call it natural water. Natural doesn't mean anything in retail, in marketing. You can say natural about anything. So get spring water, get it from a good source, get good quality bottled water if you're getting bottled water. Kangen is an alkaline water machine distiller. No, we don't have one. We live on a boat. It's a little bit tricky. Kimber's saying, in her personal experience with animal body, good full release ends with a very deep, guttural, primal crying. Yeah. um, Jennifer says, I use Nikken water bottle that has a filter in it and filters everything out, has a magnet in it that puts it back to the natural energetic state that it was in. I mean, there's so many things. Filtered water is a bit of a, I don't know that much about filtered water, but I did attend a seminar once by a very good nutritionalist doctor who said that some of these filters, like the Brita filters, for example, are just a waste of time. And so I kind of feel like that's probably true. So a good filter system maybe is really good, but a basic one is probably not much good. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Say so. If you have any questions now, now's the time to ask them. I'll remind you, as I said at the beginning, a good place to start with all of this is the video that I did yesterday, because for many people there is disassociation from the emotion. Okay, it means that there was a trauma almost always in childhood, but it can also be an ancestral trauma where we learned, where our brains were wired to believe that it's not okay to express this emotion. If I express this emotion, I'll be punished. If I express this emotion, I'll be hurt. If I express this emotion, I'll be unsafe. Okay, so the work that we did yesterday was about healing those blockages that prevent us from being able to express. And for most people, there are those blockages, at least for some things. So a good place to start would be yesterday's workshop. Okay. When you've done that, then set an intention. Use the text that I've shared here on ritual if it helps. And do a ritual, set an intention, be very clear, prioritize your healing. Then you can come back to this video, take the information from this video, shake, howl, let the body do what it needs to do. Kimber said you have a really good cry afterwards, and you will feel as if you're 100 tons lighter. You can't imagine how good you can feel after something like this. So, and my prayer, my wish for everybody is personal empowerment. Let's get into our power and let's not allow ourselves to be anything other than the sovereign spiritual beings that we are in animal bodies. Natalie asks a very good question. Can you do this if you aren't feeling anger at the time? Yeah, you can. You can. If the anger is there in the body, if old anger is there in the body, stale anger, and you know it's there, but you don't feel it in the moment, you can do this practice and it will come up. The caveat to that, the exception is if there is something that blocks you from expressing the anger, and this is what I was speaking a moment ago about, in which case go back and do yesterday's video. So lots of love. Anybody that would like to work with me in an ongoing way, I run an online community or Sangha, and I do 12-week courses for people that are less interested in community and still want to do the work. So Kimber just shared a link to my website. Have a look. It's good work that we do. And thanks for watching the video. Please share it. Lots of love. See you soon.